Hello, welcome to Mr. Wood Studios. My name is Mr. Wood. Today, I have a special guest from National Petroleum Authority, popularly known as NPA. His name is Mr. Johnson Babo Jr. He is the Deputy Manager of Gas. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wood, and thank you to your listeners or viewers.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good, by the grace of God. How about you too?
I'm also fine.
Nice.
Mr. Babu, yes, what are the mandate of National Petroleum Authority?
Well, the National Petroleum Authority, under the NPA Act 2005, Act 691, has the mandate to oversee, regulate, and monitor activities of the petroleum downstream industry in Ghana.
Meaning, NPA is under Ministry of Energy?
Yes, please.
That's great. Sir, we have been used firewood and charcoal for so many years. When we were young in the village, Edumfa and Ekunvied Manfa, we were all using those things. But currently, National Petroleum Authority is encouraging Ghanaians to use LPG gas instead of firewood and charcoal. Why?
Well, you would realize that there is a call for decarbonization as a result of climate change and its resultant effects. And you realize that you said when we were young, the population as at the time we were young and the population now is different. Population has increased over time. And so it means that reliance on firewood and charcoal would also increase. In that effect, it means more people will burn wood, more people will burn charcoal. And one of the causes of global warming is carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere. And so the more we burn firewood, the more we burn charcoal, we are increasing that concentration in the atmosphere.
Really?
Yes, as well as not just carbon dioxide, carbon monoxides, and then other particulate matter, which would actually lead to poor air quality. That means affect our health.
That means using of firewood and charcoal is one of the factors that contribute to deforestation in Ghana.
Yes, because we obtain charcoal from trees. We obtain it from wood. And so people who cut down trees, the more you cut down trees, the more you're increasing deforestation.
Okay. Is there any health risk associated of using firewood and charcoal?
Yes, so prolonged exposure to firewood and charcoal, or prolonged exposure to burning of firewood and charcoal leads to a lot of respiratory issues. Our mothers who are exposed to cooking for long hours with firewood and charcoal attest to this fact. You see them coughing, you see them sneezing most of the time, you see them complaining of itchy eyes. Some even find it difficult to sleep at night. Yes.
With this, how NPA are planning to stabilize the price of LPG and ensure its availability so that the consumers will not go back into the use of firewood and charcoal?
Okay, well, with the price of LPG, you realize that the NPA is calling on government to take off some of the taxes and some of the levies on LPG, and then also for issues of availability and accessibility. You realize that the NPA has launched a new policy, which is the cylinder recirculation model. The government of Ghana launched the National LPG Promotion Policy in 2017, and then they gave the NPA the implementation mandate for the cylinder recirculation model. And so under this model, you realize that there will be LPG available everywhere, in our communities, in our localities. And so under the CRM, the filling of cylinders would be done at bottling plants, automated bottling plants. And so all the cylinders will be filled there and then transported to cylinder exchange points or cylinder distribution outlets. From this point, consumers can go to the cylinder exchange points with their empty cylinders in exchange for already filled ones.
Okay, that means NPA is recommending LPG gas to replace firewood and charcoal.
Yes.
How NPA can ensure that all the cylinders has been filled at the correct gauge so that they will not cheat the consumers?
All right. Thank you very much for this question. As I mentioned earlier, under the cylinder recirculation model, the filling of cylinders will be done at automated bottling plant. So at the automated bottling plant, we have what we call carousels, and these carousels have filling arms. All these filling arms are going to be well calibrated, and the calibration is two authorities will regulate that.
Okay.
The Ghana Standards Authority will regulate and make sure that the filling arms are well calibrated, and then the MPA also as regulator would also be there to also check and be sure that the filling arms are well calibrated to the right gauge, and that you get value for money, consumers get value for money. And then also at the exchange point or at the reseller point where you go and exchange your cylinder, there will be scales there for you to check and weigh your cylinder to be sure that the quantity of gas you've paid for is the quantity you are served.
Hot problems or challenges that cylinder recirculation model coming to solve?
Okay, so number one, the cylinder recirculation model is going to solve issues of safety. So you realize that the filling activity is one of the issues that causes fire, or is a hazard that causes accidents. And so right now that we are taking that filling activity away from our communities, and it's going to be the sole preserve of the bottling plants, which are located out of town, and safety precautions are taken, are well maintained under strict conditions. All right, and so the filling is done in a very safe manner. And then also number two, the issue of accessibility. Most of the villages and communities we engage, some of them raise concerns that there are no gas filling stations in their communities, and as such LPG is not available, and so they can't use LPG, and so they resort to using firewood and charcoal. Now that we are bringing the LPG closer to the consumer, closer to the communities, closer to the villages through the cylinder exchange points and the cylinder reseller points, you realize that there will be reduced reliance on wood fuels and charcoal, because now consumers have access to LPG.
So this initiative, is it going to provide more job opportunities, or is likely some people will lose their job due to this initiative?
Thank you for this question. This initiative will not cause any loss of jobs, but it is going to create more jobs. As I said earlier, we have new actors in the distribution scheme now, and so we have the bottling plants. It's going to employ people are going to work in the plants. We're going to have LPG trucks or LPG transportation vehicles, and so these vehicles will transport some of these LPG in cylinders. So we'll have box cylinder transportation vehicles that will transport filled cylinders, and then people will have to load these cylinders onto the trucks. People will also have to offload these cylinders off the trucks. That is job creation. And then also the cylinder exchange points. Personnel will have to man these cages. The cylinder distribution outlets, personnel will have to man these distribution outlets. All right, and so it is going to create more jobs. And then also, as I said, the fuel cylinders will be in our communities. Currently, there is none in your community, for example. So it means that the person who's going to bring it has a job. It's an employment opportunity. And then also, those who use the tricycles to go around our communities and do the swapping, that is also an employment opportunity that is being created. And so you realize that there are more jobs created under this value chain.
That's great news. We are live on Mr. Wood Studios. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment. You can also visit us on mrwood.com. Mr. Babu, can you tell us exact lifespan of a gas cylinder, and how can the consumers identify an expired gas cylinder? All right.
And so typically after 10 years, we are supposed to take our cylinders for retesting, for the bottling plants to do some checks. And so when it goes to the bottling plant and they see there are issues that they can handle that involves cold works, they can handle it from there. But then issues that will involve hot works, say welding, say cutting, these issues will be addressed by the cylinder manufacturing companies. Now, you realize that on your cylinder, you see a manufacturing date stamped on it.
Okay.
Sometimes you can see it on the valve ring or the foot ring,
okay,
or around the shroud of the cylinder or the body of the cylinder.
Okay.
So the date, there's the manufacturing date. So what you do, you just add 10 years to it. So when you add 10 years, whatever you get, if it's less, it means you need to take your cylinder for retesting.
How many of us has been check our gas cylinder expiry date before or manufacturing date before? We thank God we meet Mr. Babu here. Mr. Babu, we normally go to various spraying shops, especially those who spray cars. We go and spray our cylinders. Is it advisable?
Well, it's not a bad thing to do.
Okay.
To spray your cylinder, it's not a bad thing to do. But the truth of the matter is that spraying your cylinder alone is just like scratching the surface of the issue.
Really?
Yes. Because you're only solving what you can see.
the outer.
Exactly. You can see that maybe there's a rust on your cylinder.
Yes.
And so you go and spray it. What happens on the inside of the cylinder? For all you know, inside the cylinder is corroding, it's rusting, but you can't see it.
Yes.
Yes. Inside the material is wearing off, but you can't see it.
So the best way is you're supposed to send it to.
Exactly. You are supposed to send it to the cylinder manufacturing company.
How or where can we locate that cylinder manufacturing?
Very good. But you see, that's why we have introduced the cylinder recirculation model.
Okay.
Under this model,
Okay,
the maintenance of the cylinder is going to be the sole preserve of the bottling plants.
then it's good idea.
Exactly. So the bottling plants are going to procure the cylinders from the cylinder manufacturing companies,
Okay.
and then they'll brand these cylinders in their own brand name. And so in the scheme,
Okay.
or in the cylinder recirculation model,
Okay.
under the scheme, when the cylinders come to the bottling plants, they'll run tests on the cylinders to check if there are, like I said, that involve cutting and welding. They'll send to the cylinder manufacturing companies for them to rectify that.
I see. What are the dangers involved if you are using a expiring gas cylinder?
All right. So one of the dangers involved is that you see that structurally your cylinder is becoming weak, and then the cylinder cannot hold the pressure of the gas anymore.
Okay.
And so you realize that your gas will be leaking. And when gas leaks, you and I know that it can result in explosion.
Yes.
Or it can result in fire.
Okay. A lot of Ghanaians are willing to use gas, but they are afraid of explosion.
Yes.
What are the safety measures the household should follow when they are using gas in their various homes?
Well, the safety measures are quite enormous.
Okay.
And so that is why the National Petroleum Authority is going on awareness campaigns throughout the country. We go from community to community, and we have these gas safety tips we have well designed, which we share with consumers, and I would like to share with our viewers as well. And so the first one, you see that the cylinder is situated in a cage.
Yes.
So if it's possible, situate your cylinder should be in a cage like this.
Okay.
Then you connect your hose to it outside
Outside your kitchen?
outside your kitchen.
Okay.
And you keep it under lock and key.
Okay.
Now, if you can't afford this, make sure wherever you situate your cylinder is well ventilated.
Okay.
It should be well ventilated. And then number two, before you turn on your gas or before you turn on the regulator,
Okay.
make sure that you light your matches first. When you light your match, and then you gradually turn it on.
You should switch
the
on
switch.
your matches.
Exactly.
Before you turn your
Before you
regulator.
turn your regulator.
Okay.
Because when you turn on
regulator
turn on
first.
the gas, when you turn on the gas, which means LPG is in the atmosphere.
Okay.
So sometimes by the time you light it, then boom, in your face, especially your face. Then also make sure that you don't bring flammable materials close to your cylinder.
Okay.
Like this coal pot.
Okay.
There's fire in it.
Yes.
Charcoal is in it.
Yes.
And then you brought it close to your cylinder. It's dangerous.
Okay.
This gallon is flammable. It can catch fire. It's dangerous. And then also from time to time, you need to check the pressure regulator
Okay.
on your cylinder to be sure it is fitted, well fitted on the valve.
Okay.
You see some of our women, they put stones
Yes.
on the pressure regulator,
yes.
because they realize it's not fitting enough.
Okay.
When you see that, just change it, or let them change the regulator for you.
Okay.
As simple as that. And then also, when there's product in the cylinder, always keep it in an upright position. It shouldn't be horizontal.
Okay.
Because when the product shakes, and the valve is weak, gas can leak.
Okay.
And then also when you go and when you fill the cylinder, when you bring it home, because of this, let it settle for some time.
Okay.
Before you use it.
Okay.
So that the product will settle.
Okay.
And then also when you are not using the LPG, when you are using your gas, what should you do? You should make sure that your valve is in an off position.
Okay.
You turn it off.
Okay.
When you are using, you turn it on.
Okay.
In case of fire, if you have a fire extinguisher, you can put out the fire. But if you don't have a fire extinguisher, you can use a heavy blanket.
Okay.
A wetted heavy blanket.
Okay.
You use it to cover the fire.
Okay.
Okay. Or let's say it's your cylinder that is burning. Okay. So you blanket it.
Okay.
Because there are three elements of fire. We have fuel, heat, and oxygen. So when you blanket it, you block oxygen.
Can I use towel?
Yes.
Okay.
Like I said, a heavy blanket, wetted heavy blanket, or a wetted heavy towel. Okay. And use it to cover it. Okay. Cover the cylinder. If the cylinder is burning, or wherever the source of fire is, you just blanket it like that. But then again, if there is fire, and you are maybe the cylinder, maybe you are close to the cylinder is not burning, you can turn it off. You can turn off the valve on the cylinder. Okay. So that product will not go through exactly. Okay. And then also, if you see that it is becoming to me, you can shout fire, ejao. You call on help. Okay. And then people can come and help you, fire service.
Okay. Mr. Babu, it's good we meet you this evening in the Mr. Wood Studios. When you go to especially coastal areas, they use charcoal and firewood to process their fish. When you go to various places, when they do the butchery work, they also use firewood to process the meat. Are they also supposed to use gas instead of the firewood?
Oh yes. Why not?
Okay.
They can use LPG to process their meat, their fish, because we have stoves. Okay. I mean, we have clean cooking stoves that use less fuel. Okay. For production of some of these fishes and then meat kebabs.
We have people who always challenge us. They can say, oh, my grandmother or my grandfather has been used charcoal and firewood over 80 years. He or she is still strong. What advice will you give to the general public about the use of charcoal and the firewood? Okay.
Well, as I said earlier, population as at in the 2000s or in the 1980s and now is different. Okay. We have increased in population, and so it means that air pollution has also increased. Yeah. So the air quality as at the time is not the same as the air quality now. And so and then with the issue of climate change as well, it is important that we mitigate the risk, or we mitigate the causes of global warming, which includes burning of charcoal, burning of firewood, which also includes felling down trees for fuel.
That's great. We are live on Mr. Wood Studios. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like. Mr. Babu, we thank you. We have you here this evening for this information. Thank you for watching us on Mr. Wood Studios. Please, do you have any contact for the National Petroleum Authority so that if in case someone need them, they can call?
Oh yes. So the gas tips, safety tips handout I showed to you. Okay. We have certain numbers here. So we have the Vodafone toll-free line. You can call anytime. Even on our Facebook page, you can call those numbers. The numbers are all displayed there. You can call the numbers.
Can you give us the numbers?
Yeah, I can mention. So 0800-12300 or 0302-766-195.
Thank you very much, Mr. Babu.
Thank you, sir.